Okay, here we go with clip number 2. And let's see what happens this point. Wow. Okay. I know this wasn't a real exciting point here, but again, this is just to reinforce the ideas we saw at the end of the last clip, that Gail, when she recognizes where she's hit the serve, how important it is to reposition yourself right away to a wider position, just because of the nature of a wide serve usually results in something coming back wider. And even though the return didn't come over, she was at least in a position to play that. Okay. Sometimes it's so simple on the court. And what do we have? Gail takes the return inside of the baseline, starts coming in. And as a player, as you're moving into the court and you're getting this floater, well before you hit the ball, you pretty much need to know where you're going to go with that. And you're going to be going at that person in front of you when you know you can get that ball up above the net. And that's exactly what she does. Going down, and look at that, she hit down on the ball beautifully, where Anita, if you look at that ball, and let me back up a second. In these situations, it's rare that you're going to hit a clean winner. Someone is going to get the racket on the ball, but as they say, just make sure they get the racket on the ball in a position of defense, which Anita is right now. The ball's below the net. So Gail's done her job hitting down at her feet. Very simply done, okay? Yes, solid point here. Okay, number one, let's look where Amy is standing. As she's returning a serve, she's already up into the toilet. Great position to not just rally the ball, but to attack and put your opponent under pressure. And she even moves up further to the ball to take it early. This is a simple way of taking time away from your opponent. She plays the ball. Look how low that ball is clearing the net. At this point, if we look at now Gail's position here, Gail's still on the service line. And when you see what your partner has done with this return, and your opponent's going to be playing that ball from a pretty low position, it's really important that you get up there in the front half of the service box, because right now Gail's getting ready for Barb to hit the ball, but she's still, if you look at where she's standing, she's still in the back third of the service box, which is going to give Barb an opportunity to feed that ball down into Gail's feet. Again, as a player, any of you, this holds true, that behind your partner's good balls, make a little bit more of a commitment, get up to the net and get that volley, get that ball while it's above the net. You can see when the ball's dropping down, now, thinking that you're in an offensive position, now you're in a tough position with that ball down at your shoelaces. And that's a nice little pickup. Okay, same thing here. From Amy's position, whenever you're in that position and you see someone's not, Anita's playing a ball that's just level to the net there off her backhand, so it's not going to be that hard of a volley. And the question is, could you move up? Again, by staying back where you are, we're not in the best position, but we're still playing a pretty good volley off of that. Ball pops up, and Barb, to her credit, moves up to this ball, and let's see where she's able to make contact with this shot. And this is where it's important. This is such an advantage, and you can see Barb has not allowed the ball to drop down below the net. When you get that ball when it's above the net, either off the bounce or you take it in the air, now we start looking at attacking that person in front of you religiously, which she does. Hits a very strong drive, and you can see, all Gail can do is reflex it, reach out with her racket. Not much you can do. That's the kind of ball that, let's say Barb hits this and decides to go through Amy. Well, Amy's a little bit further away, just by the mere fact that she's cross court, and she'll have a little bit more time to react to it as opposed to her partner Gail. And so players, whenever you get this ball above the net, either off the bounce or in the air, go after that person in front of you. You're not going to win all the points, but you're going to win a whole lot of points when you do it. Okay? So let's move on forward here. Okay, wow, good defense on this. Let's take a closer look at this one. This is a real common situation. Okay, so here's the lob from Barb that goes over Amy. And Amy, if you look at Amy, she has turned around here. You can see she's taking a look at the ball, recognizing her partner's running to the backhand. Watch how far Amy gets out of her service box. Not only is going to the other side, but is drifting further back, and look at her. Okay, and this is so important for all of you, that when it's time to play defense, get out of dodge and get back there, because now Amy has moved back far enough where now Anita is attacking the person closer to her, but Amy has done the right thing by backing up. The ball bounces, and we all know that ball loses 50% of its pace when it's bouncing. So now it has a chance to slow up enough. Amy's got plenty of time, and she sees this opening right through the court, and there it is. So Gail, great get on the lob to stay in the point. Amy, great job of positioning yourself to get back into the point and actually hit a winning shot. Okay, now even though this kind of reinforces what happened on the last point, here's a similar situation. Ball goes over Amy. Again, if we look at where Amy is, this time she doesn't even need to look where the ball is. She knows it's a good deep lob to the corner. And you can watch how Amy is sprinting across the court and not just backpedaling into position. She runs into the other side of the court and drops back. Where, look, she's already back there, and Barb hasn't even hit the ball yet. So my question to Barb is, you hit this great lob, and that's the problem. When your opponents are hitting these weak shots, you let the ball bounce, you just give them too much time to get into position. And you can see Barb hasn't even hit the ball, and look how well positioned both Gail and Amy are right now, when they were just on severe defense just a moment ago. And even though Amy misses the shot, it doesn't really matter. That was just such a good job of defense, and that's how you get yourself back into the point and win a lot of those points. Let's look at one more point here coming up. In. There it is. Okay. Little voice in the background there. Okay, now here's a short lob. Anita's moving up to it. And if I remember correctly, Anita plays this ball back to Amy's side, whereas ideally you would want to go with this person in here, and there's a reason why. When you hit down on that ball, again, once that ball bounces, because initially Anita clocks it pretty good, but that ball bounces and slows up 50%. Now Amy has time to throw up a good lob of her own and take a defensive situation and turn it back into offense. And it's at this point, remember we said you're now in offense because the other team is scampering back. And so Gail, I would move up a little bit more than where you're at right now, at least hovering around the service line. Barb does a really nice job of running this ball down, but she's in total defense. She's in a lot of trouble, and I would also look at Anita And as Amy did on a couple previous points, when your partner is in such trouble as Barb is, she's barely getting to that ball. Anita, you'd be better served to be a little bit further back behind the baseline. More than likely, Barb's going to hit a weak shot off of this, and you just don't want to be caught sitting up there. So let's take this forward. Barb barely gets it back. And ideally, this was a good shot, but we're always trying to make good better. So if we can take this ball out of the air, we can clock it. What happened is the ball bounced, and now Gail can kind of just see, let's just see where Anita is. Anita is doing the best job she can by just staying in the middle and saying, okay, beat me somewhere else, and which Gail does. So good defense in there, but definitely some little spots in there where we can improve on things and make good even better. So again, when people are in trouble, the more they're pulled out of position, the more important it is for you to take the next ball out of the air, because that's how you take advantage of those situations. And when people are in trouble and that next ball is bouncing on your side of the net, it just allows them time to get back into the point. We saw that in this point. We saw it in a previous couple of points where Gail was running down the lob and Amy moved back and got herself in shape to have time to play back into the point. Okay, so good stuff. That completes the second clip. I think I have one more coming up. So well done, everybody.